This is Herbie Boyd with GETV, and I'm here at a red carpet premiere with producer and director Tony GRIER, The Last Teardrop, featuring Bobby Wilson. Check it out.
I got a little piece in it. Tony grabbed me 20 years ago. I was trying to. I had to retire, man. Yeah. 20 years ago. Right. When you left the military, you stayed in home. Now it's my opportunity, don't blow it. Just hanging out. I don't care, falling asleep.
Right. Now that was Bruno Mars' dad.
Yes. Your score. To me, it's one of the most amazing teachers. Really to see you. But I love it's like 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm up to 6 watching video. I'm like, this is what you took in so humbly. Now, that's the thing. I'm hoping that before you leave New York, I can really sit down and really take that to Bobby in the middle. Bobby in the middle. Ready?
So we can do a little bit of My Girl. You know that, right? All right. I got sunshine. Sing it with me. On a cloudy day. Woo! Yeah. And when it's cold outside, I've got the month of May. Ooh, yeah. I guess you say what can make me feel this way. My God, I'm talking about my God.
Thank you, Crystal.
Come on, Jack.
You always, I'll never forget one day, poem was in the film. Blase Michael Lismore. I called Blase, I need you to do something that connects Bobby to Jackie and Jackie to Bobby. He did it in one day. We had several others who were, of course, my brother, Paul Griffin, and it was nice to have that happen. It wasn't planned, it just kind of happened, and they filled the void. And Kevin actually goes way back in 1969. Who can remember when Jackie Robinson came to Portchester High School? Can anybody remember that? And the reason why? Well, here's what happened. Kevin was student body president at Portchester High School, and Howie Schiffman was vice president. Portchester, at that time, the school system, not sure really what it was about, but they wanted to do away with some of the programs. One in particular was African American or Black History Month. And so what they did is they fought to keep it going. For some reason, something happened where they were going to cut back through cuts and spending. Anyway, Howie told his dad, Bobby Schiffman. Bobby called Jackie Robinson and said, I need you at Portchester High School next Monday, 5 o'clock. And we all know what happened. Jackie came. First time he had come to Portchester and participated in a campaign to keep these programs ongoing. And it was successful, and it worked. So there's a connection to a lot of people that were in the film. You know, I didn't know all about that story. I had met Howie Schiffman, Bobby's son. I was probably 8 or 9 years old. And sometimes people can connect with you at one stage in life, and then through serendipity, the meaning of that was meant for a later connection. We went down to Bobby Schiffman's house. He's all of 95 years old, and he told us stories, a lot of things. We put in the film what we felt kept it moving in terms of the Apollo. But what a wonderful visit with him. And so we honor the Apollo for a lot of reasons, but he had a lot to do with how the history of the Apollo that we know of came about. So we're happy about that. But anyway, if there's any questions about anything, Michael and Joy are here. I see a hand up there, PTO.
His mom, his biological mother, he's seen the name on the birth certificate, Bobby.
Right.
Did you ever get in touch with her? We didn't see much of her in the film.
Yeah, I intentionally left.
It's out of range.
Okay.
You gotta move forward.
What would he say? Hey, this, I don't understand. Anyway, I intentionally left my birth mother out because of my birth mother and the way she had her relationship with me. She was very silent. I had to get anything out of her, I had to really pull teeth. And she was always just a little bit sarcastic, and she really didn't want to answer any questions about my life. I met her 2 times, just 2 different occasions, and that was when both my boys were born. I took I was forced by my ex-wives to take my babies to introduce her to her. But one of the things that disturbed me about her was she would always ask for money. And so when she would ask me for money, it pissed me off so bad that I wouldn't go back, you know, because I was always one to ask many questions, and she just was not going to answer them. My mother was a party girl, and she died young. She died in her 40s as well, with it was congested heart failure. But it's from many years of drinking is what got her.
Do you forgive her?
Say again?
Do you forgive her?
Absolutely. I had to do some research.
God bless you.
In the foster home that I grew up, my mother gave us all of her history. She was a baby girl of 14 brothers, 14 brothers. She was the only girl. They were potato farmers, and they were Baptist ministers. So that was her roots. I never learned my mother's roots, except since she's been gone. What I did learn is my grandmother, on my mother's side, just passed away. She lived to be 90-something years old. And when I asked my sisters, first of all, I learned about her by social media. And I said, hey guys, this lady you're talking about, is that my grandmother as well? They said, yeah. I said, well, how come you guys didn't introduce me to her? They said, she didn't want to meet you. So, but when I did some digging, she gave up her 6 children to foster care, which was my mother and her 5 sisters. So this is like a generational curse that I had to break. And my half-sisters have broken. They have their own families now. None of their children are in foster care. Their children are graduating from college. And my sons are, I consider, successful and independent. So I never held my mother's life and her decisions against her. When the first thing she said to me when she met me at, I was around 19 or 20 years old, she found me in the Navy. She says, please forgive me for giving you up. And I said, I think that was the best thing you done for me. That was the best thing. And I was telling Tony, the book, I started writing my life story, Blessed from the start, because in the beginning, God took me away from that situation and placed me in a great foster home. And I needed that because I have more of my father than I ever known. The last 10 years, I found out I was really had out of his ways. And I could have won. I feel like if I didn't have the mother that raised me, I might have wound up as a statistic in jail or dead. I feel like I could wind up that way. But because of who she is, because of who she is and the way she raised me, I was able to make life decisions that wouldn't put me going. If that makes sense. Yes. Hello? Oh, okay, there you are. What kind of mic is this?
Any other questions? Here's one.
Wow. How old do you want me to be? You looking for a date? I am my father's son.
Yeah, boy.
Because I'm an entertainer, I can't answer that question. You can Google it, but it ain't online. Trust me. Trust me. My father would be in his late 80s, yes. He was born in 1934. Yeah, so I'm up there. I'm around 36.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm 27. I'm 27.
But I'm blessed, and I'm blessed to be here, and I outlived my father and my mother, so every day is a blessing for me.
Hallelujah.
Hi, so I'm Michael Goldstein. This is called Uneven Carpet.
Right.
And getting much older than you. So we established the Foster Teen Employment Network. Okay, you were lucky. You wound up in a good home. Okay, weren't adopted. Weren't adopted. I know, I do. Okay, so the other one's not working at all. So we established the Foster Teen Employment Network for the many people, okay, that age out of the system at 18 and they don't have any lucky families. They're just essentially, here's the door, don't let it hit you on the way out, okay, really. And there's literally about, they said the number here, but just for the U.S., there's 20,000 kids that age out of the foster care system every year. So in 5 years, it's 100,000 kids that have no family, no no connection whatsoever. So we've established the Foster Teen Employment Network. We have outside, the tables outside, to help kids. And it's a whole realm. It's not just employment. It's how, where am I going to live? Where am I going to get beautiful clothes from? Hey, where do I get the money to come to a premiere? Like two of the FNs are here actually, and it's each kid one at a time. Okay? We have a driver's ed program. Why? Because you took to drive before you're 18.
Yes.
Okay, he's lucky. Okay, all of the foster teens that we see, and I see them at 19 and 20, 21, they don't have driver's licenses because their caseworkers say, you don't have a car. What do you need a license for? Okay. But I find though, I need it for employment. Okay, and especially during COVID, when it's like Amazon and FedEx were hiring with $2,000 sign-on bonuses, the DMV was closed. You couldn't get licenses. So there are all those little things. We have the Emergency Relief Fund, and we're also starting a new fund now, okay, to try to actually pay for foster youth that age out, to pay for their internships. Because there's a lot of people that will just can't take on like another employee. One of the restaurants I went to, you know, they need waiters, the waitresses. They can't afford to hire them yet. So what Penn is building up a fund to actually pay those youth while they work somewhere else. So my wife is here, Joy Goldstein, okay, who's not standing up because she has a broken kneecap, because she saved our grandchild from falling down the stairs. But we established together, she runs it, I'm not on it anymore, okay, it's called Forever Families Through Adoption, with the idea of getting to, and there was a little clip on it in there, okay, of getting to the pregnant young mothers with an option that you don't have to put your kid in foster care. You can actually place the child for adoption at birth with a nice family, even continue to have a relationship with that family so you wouldn't have to be searching all around like you had to search around, Bobby. Okay, so please stop and get the brochures, okay, and keep these kids out of foster care, okay?
So, let me say, I don't. I hate this. Can you hear me? Yes. So I want to say this real quick. One of the reasons why, when Tony came with the idea of investigating jumping into foster care, I don't feel lucky because I'm Jackie's son. I don't feel like I have any extended privileges because I'm Jackie's son. When I turned 18, I was scared. And my mom, she's so strict that I knew when I turned 18, I wanted to get the hell out of her house. I didn't want to stay in her house, but that's the way she raised us. She raised us with a mentality of get your own. She used to sing all the time, God bless the child that has his own. So she instilled in us to depend on us and depend on only us and God. She used to say, you don't depend on me because I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be in heaven. You ain't going to depend on your uncles, and I don't want you calling the deacons and whoever in church, because you need to depend on you and God to get to where you got to go. And she says, and you don't blame nobody because God knew you were strong enough to handle this. Now, when I turned 18, I was scared to death because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I just knew, I'll tell you something, I just knew I was going to get out of that house. And because I couldn't live there anymore. She had very strict rules. And when I got out and I decided I'll join the military, go to college, and blah, 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 that was my direction. Like she used to say a lot when we were growing up, man plan and God laughs. And my plan, because I made a plan, join the Navy, retire, get fat, dumb, and happy, get my trailer, get my retirement, and chill. That was my plan. Just God just changed that plan. And then the Wilson family came. The Wilson family didn't come until I turned 30 years old. And I didn't see the Wilson family at 18. I didn't see the Wilson family as a child. At 30 years old is when it started coming to me who I was. So I want to say, I want to share my message to other foster kids, especially the young, that's still in homes. That's why I'm here. And the ones that are still in a home and feel hopeless, the ones that are still in a home and want to blame somebody, the ones that still in foster homes and they don't like the foster people they with, or they're not thankful enough to know that they got somebody that want to take care of them when there's nobody else to take care of them. Some of the times these kids not even thankful. It's not the parents, it's the culture. It's the culture. So I want to be the face that said, you can do it. You can survive this. Take your blessing and keep getting up. That's why I'm here.
Amen.
Yeah.
No!
He like, he did that.
I was happy that we came.
He said no.
When is the rest of the U.S. going to see this?
When is the rest of the
When are they
U.S.?
going to see this
What,
story?
the
Everybody
way,
else.
this is a wonderful time for filmmaking.
Okay.
And we know why. Streaming. There's 200 plus streaming networks out there.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, we would not be here tonight.
Right.
So now what happens is the networks are hungry for content.
Right.
So the key is to shoot it right, make sure you have, of course, we had pictures we got that have never been seen before. They're in bad condition, as you saw, but they were classic archival. But this is a documentary, so you get away with that. But the truth is it will stream by the end of the year, obviously, but we wanted to do a theatrical run because we have some other things in mind for his campaign. So getting in a theater is one thing. It's difficult. Feature film is difficult. Documentary. And yeah, you come in, our distributor makes the deals, this, that, and the other, but AMC loves it. They want it everywhere in the United States. Wow. And if we do okay with that run, then you'll see it here in August, for a week. You can come in at 2 or come in at 4. It'll be a part of the prime time. Maybe, maybe not. But by then, we should be talking streaming. So
We could all help to promote it.
Yes.
word of mouth. Our distributor is that kind of distributor. They love it. They like these settings.
Yeah, yeah.
I defer to the sister who's had her hand up.
Hi, I'm Lori Walker. Michael, you might know me and Bill, because we did 6 of our adoptions, but I would say to Bobby. Who is it? Lori and Bill Walker.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
That's a big
Foster
family.
care, we did it for 30 years, and your resilience to overcome those obstacles, being in the foster home, and the inside feelings that you have, because when you go through foster care and the traumas of not knowing or reading that birth certificate, because I've had children read their birth certificate and father's unknown, and they would ask, how is that possible? And that worries them going into the school system. And for you to overcome, and I'm sure you're still trying to settle it down, because it does resurface, and a lot of the kids on holidays have nowhere to go because they've aged out. Even adopted kids who are still trying to find their way. And for you to hold on like you did, the film is fabulous. And what I would say but I would contact the agencies that have the children, teenagers or older, in other programs to be able to see it as part of their training.
Yes.
What it was to parents, or as far as bringing the kids together to see how you did it.
Right.
Okay? And how you handle the difficulties, the insults, the people not accepting that you're a part of, or you were separate, the mom that didn't want to talk because of her, whatever she was feeling, or grandparents that kept you out.
You're right, but we can talk.
Everybody that did everything, and Michael and Joy, I remember going through the adoption with 6 of the kids.
And Paul will say hi to you.
Yeah, Paul the top all that. And we had a good attorney to take us through all of the paperwork signings and the people. It's a lot to go through. Kudos to you. Keep up the good work.
I think the foster parents, though, I really believe the foster parents have the same trauma as the children, because I used to watch mom, go through it when they come. You get a child in the middle of the night, 3 or 4 in the morning, and she nurtured that child to 1 or 2 years old, and then the child gets adopted, and she has to watch them pull the child out of her hand. I would watch her go through turmoil, and I never thought to myself as a child, why she's doing that to herself. But she was doing it for the child, but I used to ask myself, as a child, watching these children getting adopted. And I don't know what kind of defense system I had, because I never thought I was going to get adopted. I thought I was home. I never thought, okay, I'm going to be leaving. I never thought that the whole time.
Nina.
Yes.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this showing. I really enjoyed the showing, and I hope that your message isn't just to the kids, but I think you need to also speak to the judges and the social workers and those who are making the decisions about foster care and permanency. And I disagree with the gentleman who says, we have to learn how to keep kids out of foster care, because there's some kids who can't stay in their home. So there has to be some place to go for the children. So I disagree with that. But I think that those who are making the decisions as to taking children away from their parents and putting them into foster care, and then also making sure that they achieve permanency, have to understand that sometimes when children are acting out and they're trying to find themselves, they don't need to be on medication.
Right.
There's just something wrong with that child, and how to recognize the conflicts inside the child. I don't know if, and maybe you can speak to this, did you at any time feel like you were something other than what was presented to you? If you understand what I'm saying?
No, not until I saw the birth certificate. When I saw the birth certificate, that's when my whole world kind of crumbled. And then Christmas started to have a different meaning. Birthdays had different meanings. And because being in a foster home, and she always had about 10 kids in the house at one time. She never celebrated Christmas. We never celebrated birthdays, because she said, I'm here to take care of your necessities. You got food to eat, you got a place to lay your head, you got clothes on your back, and you got school. That's it. That's where she drew the line. And that's what we went through till we graduated. So if I wanted to go to prom at 16, I had to get a job and buy my prom outfit. I had to get a job to rent a car or to get an escort. Because I would say, hey, Mom, it's prom time. She goes, good. You got some money? I'm like, no. She goes, get a job. And I went to McDonald's. Now, our kids are too proud to work at McDonald's now. I don't know who did that. Because my son got smacked in the mouth. Yes, I did smack him in the mouth.
That's all right.
My son was 12 or 13 years old, and he says, Dad, I want a new scooter, a new game. And I said, well, I said, you should look into becoming a newspaper guy or something. No, he was 16. He says, Dad, I really need a car. I said, so do I. He goes, well, Dad, you're my father. You're supposed to provide those things. I said, no, I'm to teach you to get it for yourself. I said, so McDonald's is out there, Burger King, work part-time. And I said, I'll tell you what I do. If you come up with a down payment, which was a trick by my mom. If you come up with a down payment, I will double it and we'll get a car. He goes, McDonald's is beneath me. That's what my 16-year-old boy told me. I worked at McDonald's. He got smacked. He got smacked. And I said, you need to be careful when you're talking to me. And then he came, and then he finally went to work, and he finally came up with a down payment for his car. But it was a great trick from my mom, because then she took my money, put it in the savings account, and she goes, now you need to come up with the other half.
I got a real serious question.
Okay.
I just bought a red jacket, and I need the shoes to match.
Nina, you had a question.
I did. I wanted to say that the documentary is awesome. You did a wonderful job, Tony. Thank you so much.
much for coming back home. And I also wanted to say that I'm so grateful tonight to have my church family here with me, my pastor and first lady. And my question is what church do you belong to? What church?
I am not active in church right now, and mostly because of my work schedule. I have a personal relationship with God, which I talk to on a daily basis. I lean into Him, not my understanding, but into God's understanding. I understand that Jesus didn't have a church. He walked all over the world. So my church is right there.
Right in the heart. Hallelujah. Right. Right.
So, I haven't been to church.
Kevin, speak.
You had
Pastor.
Bobby,
Pastor. Oh, Pastor Taylor.
I know you have Jesus in your heart. You still need a covering.
I have a covenant, but I have a covering. I got.
Under a pastor for spiritual.
I understand that. I do need not to lean to my own understanding. I do understand that. At the same time, but at the same time, I have to. When Jesus said, "You can do what I do," that meant a lot to me. As a little child, I said, "Mom, if Jesus said we can do what He does, if we follow Him, do that mean I can walk on water?" She goes, "Yeah." Oh. So I went and tried walking on water, I drowned. And then I said, can I do it? Well, He said I can move mountains. She said, yes, you can. But as a man, I learned that, yeah, I can do everything that Jesus did. And so that's what carries me day to day. I still do my study, I still pray, and I still, but I take my church on the stage with me every time I perform. And He's blessed me to perform almost every week of the year. But I will come and visit.
One thing I've learned about Bobby through doing the documentary is his schedule. I'm telling you, I met with Tony Orlando. Tony was in for a little bit, Tony Orlando. But we were talking about it. This guy, I mean, entertainers, I'm telling you, the ones who've been in the business for a long time, if you think that it's all party life and it's all this and all that, it's not. These guys work out. He's got a personal trainer, eats a certain diet. You have to understand, if you're doing 250 nights a year and you're on a plane, this guy does more airtime than most people. And he's in Europe, he's all over the world, all over the country. It's a routine. But as Pastor said, there is that connection. We need that spiritual backing, and he's big into that. But, online worshiping, I do a lot of that. I don't know if we even can agree on that. I get my message. I can be watching, TV, and then tune in something, and then turn the TV off, and I'm in. Because that's technology. That's why this film is here today, and that's why it'll be streaming at some point. Technology allows you to get that message.
I just want to say that I'm so proud of Tony GRIER.
Oh, yeah.
Dorchester should be raised, stand up and give him a round of applause. He never directed a published movie or any of this. This is incredible. And it's just crazy. I don't know if anybody here didn't drop a tear. You might have to drop a tear. It's a compelling story. Yeah. It's an incredible story. Yeah. And it's everybody, all families go through it. But what I want to say is that, as far as I'm concerned, what he endured and the man he's become, only God.
That's right.
Oh, God. All to God.
This is Gospel Entertainment Television.